This works every single time, like a charm. Hi, welcome to tea time. I'm so glad to see you this week because we have a lot of energy and motion, but that's kind of like all the time. So I thought it would be great this week for us to talk about a really, really handy way that I like to get myself reorganized during seasons and cycles of growth and chaos. And let's be honest, those two things tend to go together. And this is something that I do with my clients all the time. When I see somebody in a mastermind and they seem like they're getting a little frazzled and they just need, some extra tools to help them get grounded again and get productive again. This works every single time, like a charm. So, what we're going to do is we're going to use post it notes. Yes, post it notes. We are going to use post it notes to help you get your brain sorted. Now, why do I love post it notes so much? So, the reason why I love post it notes is because they are movable. You can take them and move them from one place to another. And that subtle reminder that nothing is set in stone or it's totally permanent is really, really powerful. It can help you stay more flexible in your thinking. It can help you be a little bit more bold in what you might try to do. So, with the post it notes, we're going to use those today. The other thing that post it notes do for you is that they are a physical item that you touch with your fingers and your hands. That simple act of physically touching something instead of it being in your screen is going to help you stay more present in the moment. It keeps you in your body. In Sensible Woo, I tend to work with a lot of highly sensitive individuals. And as an empath myself, I know what it's like to sort of check out and sort of stay up in my head zone and not really be fully with how I'm feeling about something or marrying that mixture of the mind and the body together. So, a really unique thing happens when we use the post it notes. We get more done faster and we get really clear about certain things we need to get honest about with ourselves. So that is why I am encouraging you to use post-it notes. As with everything, please take the advice and make it your own. If you're like post-it notes and you're like, I want to try using my Notion board, or I want to try using Trello, or I've got some other app on my computer or my mobile device, I mean, go ahead, give it a try. If it helps you get unstuck by using that, do it. But if you're like really feeling the feels, I highly recommend the post-it notes. And the best thing about this exercise is they don't have to be special. In fact, I like using this with leftover post-its, like the ones that you get from like the insurance office and whatever. And you're like, when am I ever going to use these? Um, I will use these for this exercise. So it's just a really easy way to utilize the material so it doesn't go to waste, which also feels good. So, what we're going to do is we are going to do a brain sorting exercise, and I'm going to lay it out for you. When you do this exercise, it's going to give you the perspective of really identifying what your personal expectations are, which frequently in the high achieving community that I tend to work with, it tends to be pretty high. And when you can see it laid out in front of you, you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a break. You can realize, wow, I am expecting myself to do a lot of things in a very small space. It also shows you what systems that you need. Sometimes we neglect completing things and then the work piles up because we need systems to help us. So that can give you some really good reflective data points. Um, This exercise can also show you where you might need to ask people for help. You might notice that there are sort of repeating things, and you might have someone already at your disposal who can help you, or you might need to actually go look for somebody who can help you so you can actually achieve those items. And it can also show you which tools you are not using that you probably already have. So sometimes we think, oh, this is so hard, so complicated. And then the work piles up. The world feels chaotic. We have this very long to do list, and we do this sorting exercise. And it shows us, you know what? If I just blocked out that time to spend time with that app, it might not be my favorite thing to do, but if I get through it in the next hour, it's done. And then I can move on with my life. That can be a really powerful motivator for getting unstuck. And then finally, it really shows us what we avoid. So that's a longer thing that we'll probably have to do in like another tea time video. But when we notice things that we're avoiding, it can give us really good data on, you know, what do we need to change? It could be a system, it could be a process, it could be the need for some assistance or help, or it could be something bigger like an offer. It's time for an offer to change or evolve. So there's a whole host of things that could happen under the category of avoidance. But hopefully, when you do this exercise with me, you'll discover that you can get a lot more clarity. Okay, so here's what we do. You're just going to take whatever leftover Post-it notes you have, like here on my desk right now. I've got this leftover small pad of like lined Post-its. They're handy, but like they're faded, and like I don't know what I use these for. They're like scrap notes and stuff. And I can use these up and put them to good productive use so they don't go in the trash, and I can utilize them before they get recycled. So that's a very satisfying thing. You're going to gather all of your extra Post-it notes that you have, and if you don't have any, this is a really great excuse to go treat yourself to a really nice pack of Post-its. I think they're a lot of fun to purchase. You can get them in a variety of colors, and it can feel really good when you do. So go get your Post-it notes, and then you're going to get a pen or a marker, anything that feels really good to write with. I personally prefer using like a magic marker, like those Crayola markers. I like the tip, like it's broad enough so that if I stand back from the wall that I'm working on, I can actually see what I've written. If it's really fine pencil or a fine pen, sometimes it's kind of hard to do that, but use what feels good to you in your hand. I'd rather you feel good while you're doing the activity than trying to be perfect, whatever that means. So you're going to take all these materials, and you're going to find a surface that you can work on. I have done this on a cleared off dining table, flat horizontally. You can do it on, I've got an empty door over here to my office. You can do, closet doors are great. If you've got like a large bathroom mirror, those are also good. Sliding doors can be fun. Other windows, any surface where you can really sort of spread your stuff out. You're not going to leave them there for very long because we're going to do stuff with them, but find a space where you can kind of spread out and where you can be maybe a little bit uninterrupted. Sometimes that's not possible. I know those in my community with the little ones running around, sometimes, they're all over the place. So do your best. That's it. Just do your best. If you know you're going to have to take a break from this, if you have butcher paper or some like large packing paper, you can tack it up onto a surface, and then you can roll it up and keep working later. Like you can basically collapse it and bring it back out. So get creative and have fun with that part. This next part is actually really important. If you are feeling emotionally really rough, like you're being really hard on yourself, you don't feel good about the things you're doing, I would take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel right now in what I'm wearing, how I look? It sounds almost oversimplified or silly in a way, but make yourself look pretty and feel good. If you do, you'll discover that you get more into a frame of doing the work. So if you want to pretend that you had traveled to a conference, and you're probably going to make yourself look good, dress professionally, etc. If you have to do that to do this exercise, do it. Now, I personally am a sweatpant yoga girl to the core, so I will always be more comfortable in something like that. But sometimes sometimes it feels good to, like flat iron your hair or put on some earrings. I like to make it really fun. I make myself a lovely high tea time, a really good pot of tea, some delicious little snacks. I put on some music or my favorite movie, something that's not distracting though, and then I'll go to work and do this. What I'm doing is I am already shifting how I feel about getting unstuck with all the things I think I have to do. So once I get to that place, then I'm going to take my post-its and I'm just going to start wherever my brain is at. This is the intersection of your personal world and your professional world. It all goes together. Everything is one. If what you have as a backlog on your plate is a lot of personal things, even if things like doing your laundry or washing your dishes. But if that is preventing you from clearing your mind so you can get focused on what you need to do for your business, then we definitely want to address it. We want to find a way to address that. So just start writing down whatever is coming to you. It can literally be everything from the laundry all the way over to I need to build a funnel. So do write everything out. The rules are this though. It's only one thing per post-it note. So if you find yourself tacking on a honking huge project in like 2 words on a post-it note, but you know that that's actually like 50 things, my friend, you are going to have 50 post-it notes. Okay. So you're gonna write everything out. What this does is it allows you to see the magnitude and the scope of where your feelings and your brain have gone to so that you can actually strategically look at it and decide, what am I going to do with it? And what we do after we get all those things out, and in the worst case scenario, it's going to take you more than one session to do. And you know what? If this helps you get to the next point, then that is exactly what we're going to do. So you're going to do the brain dump. Most people that I work with find, an hour or two is more than sufficient to do this part of the task. But if you find yourself interrupted or you want to let yourself to sort of relax a little bit and let things come to you, take whatever time you need. This is time for you. So you've got everything out. All your post-its are up on the wall, and it's one thing per post-it note. And now you're going to look at them and you're going to categorize them. The first categorization that I like to do is say personal stuff on the left, business stuff on the right. And then I just start moving post-its around. I move all the personal things over to the left and I move all the business things over to the right. That's it. That's it. It gives me a chance to look at what's actually a personal thing that is eating up my time and my attention and all my energy, and what's a business thing, and how many things are in each of these halves. And you can start to reflect on what is happening in my mental space that has me feeling so chaotic. By this point, it's really common for a lot of folks, and I suspect for yourself included, that you'll go, wow, I suddenly like don't feel so chaotic anymore. You might feel like, I have a lot of work to do, but that is a very different space to be in rather than, oh my gosh, everything's happening all at the same time. I don't know when I'm going to get it done. And that mental loop just starts to go on and on and on. That's not a productive space. So we're looking at all the post-its and we're noticing the personal ones and the business ones. If you find that you've got a lot of stuff in the gray area, that is time for you to spend with you and to think about what's going on here. Why are these things crossing over? What's happening here? Um, are there more than one thing on a post-it note and you're mixing them up together? Are you confused? Like you thought something was a business thing, turns out it's a personal thing, or vice versa. What is it? What's going on? And give yourself time to really sort those things out. But in the end, they've either got to be personal or business. And then from there, we're going to spend time in one half or the other based on what comes out and what you see. I personally really like to look at the quantity of things. So if I notice that I have a whole bunch of post-its over on the personal side, and I've got like some pretty juicy ones on the business side, but like it's really not that many, I will go over to the personal side. And from there, I will sort this part first. And from there, I will either do one of two things. Either I'm going to categorize those post-its into certain types of like chores or errands or so forth. Or if it makes sense to just simply put them in a priority order, I'm going to tackle this thing first and then I'm going to do that thing next, and so forth and so forth. While you are doing that part of the exercise, you're really looking at, does this have to be done right now? Does this have to be done right now? And you're picking up these post-its one by one and you're able to look at them individually, and it starts to calm your nervous system. It gives you a chance to catch up to yourself, and it gives you a chance to really evaluate, what are your expectations for yourself? Have you been expecting yourself to do really huge tasks, really big things? And it turns out you really just need to do like a couple of things, like tidy up, finish the laundry, get your kitchen back in order. If you've been eating like crap and you need to go to the grocery store to get healthy veggies or something like that, you take the time to do it. And so you can look through, what are the priorities, what actually needs to be done. And then you can start scheduling yourself to get those things done. Once you get the personal side done, if or maybe you started with the business side. In this example, we're going to start with the personal side. So once you get the personal side done and you've gone through and you've now prioritized things and you're looking at your post-its and they're in a different order on your wall now. So now that you're doing that, now we're going to swing over to the other side. In this example, we're swinging over to the business side. So on the business side, this is where we want to critically ask ourselves, is each of these post-it notes actually just one thing per post-it note? If one of your answers is, well, I don't know, because maybe you don't know what you don't know yet, that's a very valid answer. You can spend some time with that. One of your action items for that post-it might actually be for a project to investigate more about that. So, for example, I'm just going to use funnel building again as an example because it's actually a really big activity. And if you've never done it before, sometimes you can like oversimplify it in your brain. And then it turns out it's actually a much bigger, complex thing to solve for. And that can be very confusing and disconcerting if you didn't know what you were walking into. So sometimes we have to actually go investigate. We need to find somebody to help us. This is where the people part comes in. You need to go ask some questions. Maybe you need to read some articles. And that in and of itself is its own post-it. So sometimes you notice that you actually have some pretty big projects. When I've worked with my clients in the past doing this activity, that is actually a really frequent thing that happens on the business side with all those post-its. On the business side is where we discover, wow, my idea of the scope is way off, way off. Isn't it great though to find that out now? So what we're going to do is we are going to sort those just like we did on the personal side. But what you'll probably discover is there's a bit more complexity. And once you start to sort your business project post-its, you can then actually put them on your project calendar or on your regular calendar. So you're blocking time off to do your business work. You're prioritizing it. You're not saying, oh, someday I'll write those newsletters. Someday I'll do the social media posts. Someday I'll go take some pictures of myself to go put on Instagram, or I'll go live, or whatever the thing is. Not someday, it's happening today or tomorrow. We're going to actually put those on the calendar and make sure that you are starting to plan for doing those activities so that they don't stack up again and you don't end up with the exact same problem that you started with, which is that chaotic feeling of, oh my gosh, all the things, all the things. What happens when we're in the all the things energy space is that we end up making reactive choices, and they're not even really choices, they're just reactions. They're just sort of responses. We want to actually have conscious decision making happen in these situations. We want to consciously decide, I need to do this thing first, and then I need to do that thing second, because the second thing is dependent upon the first thing. And when we go through this post-it sorting exercise, it gives you space and time and the ability to actually think through the problem at hand and take care of your energy cycles as well as what's happening in your business. And then when you see your personal expectations on the other side of the wall, it can really show you what needs tending in your life. And you can ask yourself, maybe you just need to schedule some regular rhythms for things like cleaning your house or going to the grocery store, and they seem really mundane, like, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, I shouldn't have to think about those things." And if you can automate some of those processes, like you can order your groceries and have them delivered, great. But if you're not in that position or you don't want to do that, then you do have to think about these things. And, it's just part of being human. So, I would encourage you to spend time with this, have fun with it. I would love to know when you do this. Come back here and tell me. I don't care if it's the day I post this video or a year from now. I want to know, how did you get organized? How do you feel? Celebrate that win with the world and the community. I bet that if you have been spinning your wheels and you do this exercise, you're going to end up working through the rest of this quarter feeling so much better about yourself in your heart. You're going to feel so much better. And it's going to allow you, it's going to open up space and make space for you to do really strategic things that you haven't had the space to do before. If you find that this exercise really, really helps you, make it a regular date for yourself. I like to have like a really big personal CEO afternoon, like at least once a month. They tend to be, I don't know why, but they tend to be on Sunday afternoons, and they feel really, really good. I think I've always loved Sundays because in my corporate career, when I was still side hustling, Sundays was a day when I was home and there weren't any expectations on me. I find that on Sundays, a lot of people are busy doing their own thing, they're with family. And so, like, the phone wasn't ringing and people weren't trying to text me, and I just had a little bit more space for me. So, I will encourage you to do that. Have so much fun with this. I hope you feel really great about it. Come back here again. We will do more post-iting things around here at Sensible Woo. But this is one of the very first ways that you can get connected with yourself through the simple act of using these sticky little sheets of paper. Who knew? Um, have fun with it. Enjoy it. I will see you next week. And I can't wait to hear about all the things that you get sorted out by doing this exercise. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.